guess when I started lifting, I got into it because a buddy had told me, you know, at the gym, he's like, you know, you're really strong, you should compete in powerlifting competitions. And of course, at that point, I just like lifting, just the whole idea of just lifting weights and getting stronger. And I mean that in its most, you know, basic essence is just what I was interested in. But once I kind of investigated it a little bit and checked out some of the websites on, you know, some of the different organizations that held meets, you know, I looked at it and I was kind of intrigued by the weights that were being lifted, and I thought I could do pretty well, so I just decided I would do it. And I guess every time I would compete, I would do better, but I would also then realize that there were, you know, loftier goals that I should be aspiring to. So, you know, just coming from somebody who had lifted a lot growing up, you know, and then finding a sport that really appreciates, you know, people who like to just lift weights for the sake of getting stronger or better lifting weights. I guess I realized that, you know, I definitely had a good natural build for the sport, and the more I was exposed to it, the more I could kind of see what, you know, the best people were doing, and that's what made me feel like, well, if somebody else can do this, then, you know, there's no reason that I shouldn't be able to do the same, you know, the same thing, if not better. And when I look at another person, you know, it's like they're made of flesh and blood, just like myself. So there's no reason why, you know, one person should be able to do, you know, one thing and I shouldn't. I mean, I don't think that I had a, you know, I think I've always had, you know, naturally good genetics for being a lifter, and I've always loved the sport. So I felt like, you know, if there was somebody else doing something, then I felt like I could you know, aspire to achieve the same goal, or, you know, kind of matching that performance or doing better. And so I think just the more I got into lifting, the more I realized that, you know, there was really more to do. And instead of being the beginner who thinks, you know, you're like the strongest person in the world and you really just like outlifted other people in your gym, I think the more I was in the sport, then, you know, the more my eyes opened up.
It's a pleasure to watch him lift all the time. He also set the world record squat for the weight class by 1 measly kilogram. He outsquatted some guy named Sam Bird by 1 kilogram. No, it couldn't have happened. It couldn't have been taken by a better person. Dan's a great lifter, great squatter. He's come a long way in the last 3 or 4 years. It's just amazing to watch him transform into the lifter that he is now.
Dan Green, I knew me and another guy, Phil Brewer, went to Russia the first time I went. So I was able to lift with Dan there, and obviously he's one of the strongest out there. Very well-rounded. He's developed his form on deadlift and squat to where, I mean, he almost blows anybody in his weight class away. He's out of his class. The thing about Dan is that he's a nice, genuinely nice guy. He's humble, and he's just a nice person to be with. And I think that, to me, that's more impressive than him deadlifting 900 pounds and watching him squat all this crazy weight and stuff, and like do it as lean as he was and as light as he was. It's insane, but just to me it speaks just so much more, just like with all that strength and power, just like a humble, nice, down-to-earth guy.
Out the street was as a lake, lonely girl, no need to go home. We were standing on the square, laughing loud. They came out from there like high little kid, just an hour wait, and they'd all Snakes' eyes were full of perverse thirst to revenge 40 wretched.
You know, and just if you like what you do enough, then you're going to do whatever it takes, you know, to do it. And you know, I've had doctors tell me, you know, like you know, what you're doing to your body's not good for when you're older, and I was like, I get that, but you know, it's fine. It's not the same as like the other people at the gym, and you know, so lifting weights, of course, yeah, you're gonna incur some injuries here and there, but you know, that's just how it goes. So whether it's, you know, injuries that have set me back lifting, and you asked about like how does this affect you, you know, throughout the part of your life that's not in the gym. I think it's just the same thing that, you know, if you're going to set your mind to coming through on some goals, it's never going to just be as easy as you, you know, originally think it might be. So at the last minute, kind of decided, you know what, I'll be able to make, you know, still just try to make the weight cut to make the 220 class. My wife basically said, you know, she believed that I could do it. I didn't, but you know, she kind of told me enough times where I was like, you know, I think it's doable. Let me talk to people who have done it, and you know, so I have, you know, advice of some of the other guys who are the best. You know, I talked to Sam Bird, and he's made weight cuts before, so he kind of gave me the, you know, the insider scoop on what to do. And I worked with Stan Efferding, so he pretty much helps me through it also, as far as not just losing the weight, but getting it back and getting my strength back. So it was a little bit painful, the cut, but I mean, in the end, I just, you know, I want to compete, so do what it takes.
You're in?
Awesome.
Wow. Nice job, Dan.
I think I did what I wanted to do. I wanted to, you know, squat pretty much exactly what I did, and I just wanted to make a bench that would set me up to total where I did. So, I mean, in the end, I pretty much hit what I wanted to hit, and you know, it'd be nice to go higher, of course, but that wasn't really what I had prepared for. So, in the end, it was fun. I feel badly on some of the other guys that I thought would do better, but again, I mean, you know, everybody wants to hit all their PRs, but it's a tough sport. So I'm just glad I got to, you know, compete, do well for myself, and you know, get to compete with the guys who I'm, you know, friends with.